All right, what do you guys say we get started a little bit early today? Who do we have in chat already? Nathan, Brett, good morning. Aaron, good morning. Jeff, Nick, Stuart, good morning. I feel like I haven't streamed in forever. This has been the longest week. Mike, good morning. Wick Central, Alex, Steven, Machado, Tintalon, good morning. Seeing all the regular folks here. Great. Gergman, good morning. Yeah, I feel like I haven't streamed in forever. I'm super anxious to get back to this build. It's been way too long. 42 minutes? Why would you wait 42 minutes? No, I last week I started at 8, about 30 minutes later, just to make sure that things are good to go, and then same for this week as well. So maybe getting back to 7:30, but I think 8 sort of works out for a lot of folks for a lot of reasons. Yeah, make sure to like the stream. Thanks for the reminder, Nick. Mom Killer is on TV. It's starting to. What? For the 5-minute build fun. Hey, I appreciate you. Thanks, Beater Printer. Currently redesigning mini stealth burner. Okay, I'd be excited to see what that looks like, Nathan. All right, I think I'm ready to get started. It's been a little bit of an exciting week. My daughter turned 16 yesterday, and so we went down to Universal Hollywood and took her out there for the entire day. So got back pretty late last night, and then up this morning with you all trying to get this printer over the line. We were able to get the build to the point where we have the frame done, and then we started on the AB motors. I got a little bit mixed up there, probably because I was a little tired, but we sorted it out. So let's take a look at where we are, and then we'll talk about where we're going to go and the goals for this particular stream. All right, this is the frame. We got this guy done last week. So I went behind myself after stream, and I thought that I had one of the screws in the frame stripped, but it turns out that it was just a Torx screw that got mixed in with the other stuff. And so that explains why the driver wasn't working, because it was the wrong driver. I don't know how that happened or why that happened, but I replaced that screw, and now we're all good. Shrimp Father, good morning. Yeah, so this is the frame, and this is where we left off. One thing that I went ahead and add on to onto the build was this portion back here. So this one is from Vitali. These are Vitali's CNC'd, I guess, Z-axis mounts, whatever you want to call them. And I got those in as part of this build, and so we'll use that. These are the finished AB motors that we got done, so we are going to do double shear here. We were able to figure out a way to do that. Turns out, though, that I forgot that I need to have idlers for 1.5 GT. I looked everywhere I could to find those things. I thought I had idlers. Turns out I don't. It's going to be another week before those get here, so if we get to the point where we're installing the gantry and things like that, I think I will just put on bearing stacks first, and we'll replace those with 1.5 GT idlers when they arrive. So hopefully before next week's stream, but I've got a solution and a workaround for this week so we can continue. Another thing I had to do was reprint some parts. So I had the colors flip-flopped on this. And so I reprinted new ones, and then I also forgot to print this in yellow here. So we're good to go now. All of these are reprinted, looking like they should, like a legit match for what we got going on. Am I going to put any additional gussets or braces on it? Actually, yeah. So I've got these. I've got a pack of these just CNC'd silver 90-degree corners. I want to say I got these on AliExpress. I don't remember. I've had them for a while. They're just kind of kicking around. So the overall build theme for this is to use up parts that I've already got in stock, and I've had these for a while. So I'll put these strategically around where I think it's necessary and they won't interfere. But yeah, I've got a few of these. 6 is what I have. I could also print some braces too. There are a lot of printable things out there. And then also, I'll show this off. I don't know that we looked at this last week, but I reached out to Traxman, and Traxman was able to hook me up with a set of frame braces. So these are laser cut steel, and they just go around the frame in different places to reinforce. So they will go in place of the panels, and then the panels will go on top of the braces. Yeah, so these are going to be super sweet. I cleaned them really well. I spray painted them with a clear enamel, and I hope these two aren't stuck together. No, it's just cold in here. And so there are, I think, 16 of these different braces. So that's going to add a lot of mass to an otherwise small printer. Not only that, since you guys are here, this came in the other day while I was at work. If you're not familiar with this, this is a frame brace for the bottom. So this will go into the bottom of the printer itself. You can see all the motors will mount here. And this is going to also add a lot of mass. Considering that this does change the layout of the printer, it means we're not going to be able to do inverted electronics. I mean, technically you could, because this space here is open, and you could reach through here and access all your things, but I have to have this in place first before we can install motors and things like that. And so it'll get a little tight, probably not the best for viewing angles for you all. But my goal is to still do that. I hate flipping my printer over and things like that, just to be able to access or update things. So we'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. But this did come in for install. I'm a little sad though, because I did print all the parts before I made the decision to swap. And these came out really great in that purple and Polymaker yellow. I'm not going to be able to use these anymore though if I use this bottom brace mount. So I will probably go back and remix this to be able to install on top of here, just as sort of like a beauty filler panel piece. But I haven't gotten there yet. It's been a crazy week. Where did I get the bottom plate? This bottom plate came from West 3D. It's called a base plate. It's made for Trident only, and it comes in 250, 300, and 350 flavors, only in black. So just like Henry Ford, we could try and strip this, but I don't know that it would come out very well. It'd probably involve a lot of sanding and cleanup to make it look presentable. So while it's not my favorite being black, we'll go with it. I really wish it was silver to match this kind of stuff here. For a 350, the Clee plate does allow for some room to access inverted electronics. Yeah, there's a giant hole in the middle. We could probably still get in there, but it's not going to be easy. Next time, a CNC single piece frame out of titanium. I would love to. But that's not all the good stuff we got. We also got some new merch. So this is a new shirt that's available on the website. So it says, get your print on, a little robot. So we got that, and then you got the other sleeve. You get the Killer Prints logo on the sleeve. So new merch in the store for those that like merch and things like that. And then also, we got new mugs. So all the merch for those that want merch. Getting more CNC parts to use up spare parts. Yeah. So just little odds and ends, not all new CNC stuff. Just I wanted to add some mass to the printer. And realistically, this frame, we are building it as a legacy fork here. It may not stay that way. This is to highlight the project, use it for a while. This will definitely be like all the other printers. It'll be a project. So it'll evolve, it'll change, it'll turn into something else at a later date. And we'll be prepared for that no matter what it is. You got to buy parts to have spare parts. That's right. Hey, Maker Viking. Good morning. Skyrim. Good morning. Kenny Sims. Good morning. All right. What do you say we get started on a gantry? I'm going to put this frame to the side. We'll bring out the gantry and get to work on that stuff. So gantry is really just linear rails. Oh, I forgot. we also got one of these. So this will be our power supply that'll go in the machine. This came from Fabrico. This thing's pretty hefty for such a small power supply. I've got a smaller UHP that is typically used to save space and use it in printers for ants and things like that. They are pretty small, the UHP model, but this is your UHP 200, so this is for the members build, and you can see the size on that, and then compare that with the size of the LCP 300 from LDO. Longer, thinner, shorter, fatter, age-old problem, right? But roughly the same weight, and 300 watts out of this, only 200 out of this. So here's your comparison. Need that? Yeah, me too. This finally came back in stock, and I do have a power supply for this Trident. I had a spare, but I've really been wanting to try out one of these, and so we'll do that. You have so many spare everything that when you die, your wife could flood the market and crash. I'm with you a bit nuts. That's kind of why we're able to continue doing all this stuff without sponsorships, is that we have all the spare parts to be able to do so. So I'm looking for these here. Oh, here's your tool head. So I made the pattern on there in CAD and then printed that out over the week. This is literally the only print I made all week. It's been so crazy. But yeah, It does do 5 volts as well, so we're able to run all the LEDs that we want. It was recommended that I pick up a LED board, so I've got one of those. Turns out I had one the whole time. So had this one the whole time. It was tucked away in one of the spares boxes. So I've had that one, but I didn't realize that until I ordered another one. So we've got another one from XR Bunker here, and we can use that in a future build. Pretty sure PSU mounts can only be printed in PSU. Oh, I'll work on it. Pre-spent the money. Can tell your wife the credit card debt was worth it. Oh, well, credit card debt. After going to Universal Studios Hollywood yesterday, credit card debt is just, it's a fiction of our imagination. That place was crazy. All right, so I've got a few parts here. I was test fitting some things and stuff, and that's what made me realize that I don't have the right idlers that I need. So that's disappointing. They should be here in a week, I hope. So right now I need to find some spare, let's see, let's move some things and stuff. So again, when we talk about spare hardware, I've got 3 cases of these sort of hardware kits that are just spare stuff. And I think in here for this one, I'll just use idlers like so. In the meantime, these don't appear big enough. Yeah, those are not the right size. But we've got more. We got more. So we'll just use the last bit of these for now, and then we'll swap them out. That way we try to limit the VFA effects that we see. Let me scroll down in the manual here. So I'll keep the manual up in the bottom right corner for those that want to follow along. This manual is available at the project page. Those should be in... what camera am I using? The autofocus is lagging. Nadir, yeah, tracking. This camera is the OBSBot Tiny 2, and it does take a second to be able to focus, and I apologize for that. It's just, I don't know if it's just really cold out here or how it works, but it does tend to lag a little bit on the autofocus. So we'll get you a better shot here. I do have a new camera. Thanks to memberships and you guys in the channel. I was able to pick up one of these. So this is your Sony, what is this? ZV-E10 II. So I've got one of these. And this is intended to replace the camera you're viewing it through right now. I just need a battery, because the battery that's in here is the rechargeable kind, and it doesn't last more than a couple of hours. And if I stream for 3 or 4, I'm probably going to need this. So I'm just waiting for one of those pluggable batteries to come in so that we can use this and replace it. And we'll see how it works out. Who have to sell stuff out of a trunk at Rev Rap festivals? How many teeth is 1.5? I believe it is, the ones that I have are 26 tooth. So your rotation distance ends up being 39, which is as close as you can get to GT2 to keep things the same. You could use 21 tooth puller idlers if you would like to get a bit of a mechanical advantage, but I wanted to keep things as close to simple and stock as possible. Okay. So in here, I've got a few parts. We got to add some M3 nuts into this, and those go starting on this side here. You've got this small little pocket, and that's where your M3 nut's going to go. I wish these were square nuts, and I think I could probably get away with using that. Square nuts tend to rotate less than a hex nut would. And so if I had one suggestion, I would probably use square nuts. So we're going to see if those work. And it looks like they do. So yeah, Nathan says they match in size. So that tends to be true. There's one. I've got another one over here. I was kind of playing around with some of this stuff last week after we ended stream. I just didn't want to make any decisions without you all here. So trying to do as much as we can live on stream so that you guys see it. And I need to take all this hardware out. That's why the hardware is in it, is because I was testing things out to make sure that I had everything printed correctly, etc., etc. Takes you an hour or two before you can autofocus. Yeah. You want one of those too? Oh, you're taking the camera? Use a dummier battery because the normal battery. Correct. Yeah, Nadir. I'm just waiting for Amazon to deliver that. You would think that being close to an Amazon distribution center would allow it to be here in just like a day or two. No, it still takes a week, sometimes more, for certain things to get to me. I'm, not in control of that, but I try to plan ahead and get things here on time for when we need them. Gotten a lot of work on Tinker Atlas today. Nice. Happy about that. You're ready for a nap. Well, let me put you to sleep, Maker Viking. Designing for hex nuts just because they're more common. I gotcha. Well, luckily, like you said, the square nuts work. They fit into the same slot. So if you do have square nuts, I would prefer them because they don't rotate and strip out the hole. And then they also still fit into the stock part without having to make any modifications. Enjoy the live. You're going to put something to print for tomorrow's live stream. All right, man. Congrats. Thanks for stopping by. And we'll see you around. Oh, that's not good. Almost cracked it. Trying to get that nut in there a little bit. It's like it wants to go, but it doesn't at the same time. So maybe a slight redesign will take care of that. I can do that after the fact in CAD there. Does the screw hole line up? It does mostly. It's slightly off. See if this will focus for you. Takes a second. You can see it's slightly off there. That's probably the good angle right there. You can see it's slightly off, but it should work. It should work. I can jump in CAD and make those changes for myself since I'm choosing to go off script here. Okay, so we've got because you made a hex cut. Yeah, I realize it's a hex cutout for the hex nut. If I need to jump in and reprint some parts, it's not a big deal. These are, 20 minutes to print a new set. Okay, so we've got, looks like this guy first. And The hardware that I had is the hardware I'm using. So an M3 by 30 button head and an M5 by 30 button head and an M5 by 40 socket head. These are threading in. And again, I think that's because of just this plastic. The purple doesn't like to print smoothly. Hey, Mr. Vico, good morning. Yeah, so I've already had this in here before. Things seem to work fine. Oh, good afternoon. That's right. You are ahead of me. Good afternoon. It is 8:19 in the morning over here. Cool. So those are in. What do we got next? Looks like we are now doing GT2 22 idlers. Like I said, I don't have those. And so you're going to see me use these. I'm noticing that the part has flip-flopped though. So this idler up here is that way, right? So that matches. But then when we get to the next part, I need to add the bottom. And so that should be flip-flopped. So this one here. So this one here, like so, to go together. All right. So flip this upside down. It looks like the idler goes here. And I need a couple of spacers. These are supposed to be... Nathan, any idea how tall those idler spacers are? I have several like non-printed spacers. So I've got a bag of these 8mm tall, and then another bag of these, I think these are 10mm tall. These I got from Vitali as well. These are aluminum or aluminium, depending on where you live, 10. So it's probably these will work. That was a pure guess. I don't know that I looked that up or not. But these are 10 and they're aluminum, so that'll match sort of what we're going for. You could totally print these, and I normally do, but I find that they, at least in my case, they like rub and lose a little bit of, I don't know, material over time. And so they tend to like move over time, and then you end up having to rebuild them. So to prevent that, we're just going to use these aluminum standoffs. Looks like a couple of shims here. So printed shims at 0.7 on both sides if you're using the generic ones with an 8.4mm width. So I'm not exactly sure what that means for me as far as which ones I'm going to use. But I think for this, because we need to replace it anyway, we're going to use these 1/2 mil shims. So these 1/2 millimeters will go on here first. So got that one there like so. And then we'll do our typical bearing stack here because you just found out you did the math wrong. Well, that's why we do this, man, so we can work together and identify things and figure out real world what the build process should be. So if you've got better math, shout it out. All right, so that should be that way. And then on this other side, the M5 by 30 side, we're going to do bearing first. Sorry, not bearing, spacer first. And we could do a shim. And then we can do flange bearing down, flange bearing up, and another shim here. So if the shims are not correct, what should they be? So that's that way. These go together. And these are all threaded into plastic too. So I can get it started here. the threads are modeled into the parts, and so things should sort of go together. If you're having a hard time, I would double check that you have them aligned. It is a little crazy to try and get everything together, but generally, hold on, what is, I feel like the 40 is way too long. Use the same bearing stack as we did last week. Okay, yeah, I can do that. I'm gonna take this apart regardless. And so I think what you're telling me is we should do 1/2 mil shims with a 1 millimeter shim in between. Yeah, 1/2 mil shim bearing, 1 mil shim bearing, 1/2 mil shim. So there's your 1 millimeter to provide a belt gap. We'll do our bearing on top of that, and then our 1/2 millimeter shim on top of that. And so this is what Nathan is suggesting we do here. And the reason for that is it provides a little bit of a space in between the bearings so that the belt has more room to get through. You can see this one's going to be really tight. And so what that's going to do is rub onto the edges of the belt, whereas this side will provide a little bit of space for that belt to move up and down. You should get one of those little toolbox. You should, man. I got that one at the Harbor Freight for like, I think it was only 20 bucks for that little guy. They come in a bunch of different colors. Yeah, it's super helpful. I've stickered it all out, but this is where I keep my belt tensioner, and a couple other like odds and ends. And then I've got a set of shorty drivers in here, and a nozzle tensioner in here as well. So I just keep the stuff that I use for working on the printer immediately at the tuning process. That's what I keep in there. It's magnetic as well, so you can just stick stuff to it. I like it. It's pretty cool. All right, bearing, and then small shim. I feel like this M5x40 is a little bit too long though. What are the thickness of the shim? So it looks like, here, we'll go through it on screen, right? So down at the base of this spacer, come on, focus. At the base of the spacer, you have a 1/2 millimeter shim. Then you have your bearing, and then you have a 1 millimeter shim, another bearing, and on top is a 1/2 millimeter shim. So does that make sense? The ones that I have are brass. I'm using brass shims for mine, just because that's what I have. I want to say you're able to pick up brass shims like this from KB3D in the US, and I'm not sure where else for the rest of the world, but AliExpress goes to a lot of places. And then we'll do another spacer on here. So if I flip that, it looks like the picture, which means I probably did it right. And then these sort of thread together. What I'm a little bit worried about, like if that goes all the way down, there's not much room left in that plastic part. So I feel like this M40 might be a little bit long. We're gonna go with it, but I'm a little bit worried about it. Just get it started first because there is a mismatch in length. So we'll get that threaded on until the 30 sort of lines up over here, and we can get that started with this guy. And you're gonna have to probably go back and forth with this until, so give that one a few turns and then give the other one a few turns to get everything in together since they both thread. Just trying to keep the gap equal there as we work on it. Those plastic parts look awfully skinny and small. Yeah, they are skinny and small. And it's a legacy. So we'll see. Yeah, look at that. I was worried for no reason. We're solid. Nothing coming out the bottom. Trust the process. So, yeah, there we go. They are awfully skinny and small, the GPs. This is glass fiber. This is Polymaker ASA. So the glass fiber should be fine. I'll let you know if the ABS turns out well or not. I noticed that we didn't put in another hex nut or square nut in here. I don't know if that matters or not, but we'll see. I think I should be able to get it in there. Oh, you'll get all the legacy problems too. Nice. Oh, make me feel great, man. Like what are the legacy problems? Good news on the rat rig. You were cleaning yesterday and found $1,200 in Monopoly money. Nice. Send it over, and I'll send you a printer. Hey, Clownhammer. You didn't miss anything yet. We're just getting started on the gantry. OD is 10 millimeters, but it doesn't matter too much. 8 or 9 works fine too. Yes. With thickness of the shims, yeah. Outer diameter, yeah. Just whatever fits inside the bearing without sticking out the side. Hey, what's up, Jeremy? Thanks for being a member for 3 months. Good morning. All right, going into the left XY joint, and I'm pretty damn sure I printed those. So this one is also out of glass fiber. Should be this way around, and this one does not have hex nut holes, so that tells me that's probably the right side. This one has hex nut holes though, so for some M5 nuts in it. Looks like that. Wonder if you can buy that Lego Ender 3 with it. Oh, well, good luck. All right, so M5 nuts. Let's get our hardware box back out here. Let's see what we got for M5 nuts. Oh, here they are. Use that guy and that guy. Very true. Surprised there is one. Yeah, a lot of these like mod sort of printers don't come with a manual, so Nathan did go the extra mile to try and hook us up. Once we get this gantry assembled, I'm not going to install them on the printer just yet. I'm going to go back to the Trident manual and kind of pick up from there and follow along until it tells me to put the gantry on. I feel like there are other things that we have to do first before installing the gantry. And so I just want to double check that we're okay. I have not gone through the manual to double check that stuff yet. We're doing this live. It's been a wild week. Wild week. Okay, M5 nuts are in. Let's do, okay, the Y bearing retainer ring. And then the Y bearing retainer front. What? Oh, rear. Got it. Okay, so that's the one we just put together. Got you. Okay. All right. Let's move this down. Get rid of that. Get rid of that as well. Okay. So I've got my stack that I just built, sort of this way here. There's a slot. There's a slot here, and that's where this rear one, the M5 nuts in this are not super tight, so be careful that they don't fall out. I'm gonna flip this one backwards and over. See, just like that. Might have to put a drop of glue in there to keep those static. Come on. Hey, good morning, Havoc. All right, so that way this goes backwards and towards the inside, and it looks like this. Try to do this without the nuts sliding all over the place. How does this go together? Okay, so they just kind of slide in, and once it's in there, it looks like those nuts are retained. So you've got your through holes for the rod to go through, and I'm going to just use that to align this a little bit. Sweet. And so now the nuts are retained in there and I don't have to worry about them falling out so much. We grab the other side, which is a very similar looking part, but it has no nut pockets in there. The dancing girls he had on, yeah. Yep, and that's going to go like so. Again, these dark purple parts are all glass fiber. So that's going to be held in place with some M5 by 25s. M5 by 25. None in that box, but we've got a ton of them over here. It's supposed to be button head, okay. Not sure if I have button head or not. I'd have a ton of socket head. Do they need to be button head? If they need to be, I may not have those. Let's see. These are 30s. And 5 by 25. Yeah, I think all I have is socket heads. I don't know that I have any button head 25s. Yeah, I don't have any button head 25s. They're all socket heads. Socket heads works. Great. That's what we got. I was going to have to place another order there for a second. All right. I didn't think it would matter based on what I remember from the CAD model, but you never know. So what's new in the 3D printing world, folks? Hey, Steve, good morning. Trying to get the gantry together right now. I saw that Creality released their new Spark i7, which looks very much like an A1. And we just had, what, CES close, so a lot of consumer electronic stuff. Anybody able to go to CES? Still change your Trident? I'm not against it. Printing the Delta Flyer parts right now. Nice. M4 extruder. Yeah, M4 works well on the Trident for me. I'll be honest, I haven't played with it a ton, but the couple of hours that I did do some testing on it, the M4 seemed just fine for what it is. So that goes in, and I know GPs was worried about this being a little thin, but once you add all this extra parts on here, these pieces, it really stiffens it up. I'm not worried about it. So you end up with something that looks like this. Sadly, Vegas is in 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm a couple of hours from Vegas, and we didn't go either. It was my daughter's 16th birthday this weekend, so we chose to do that instead. Okay, and then push in the bearings until they're flush on the front side. Okay, this is the front side here where the hardware enters. The back side would be where the M5 nuts are. So in this direction are how those bearings should go. Delta Flyer is awesome. Just broke one of the rubber bands. Oh no. I've heard that they are maybe not necessary, so you may be okay. Projects, you may be okay. Need to find those bearings. We just had them the other day. I picked these up from West 3D. I'm sure there are other places to get bearings. You could probably find them on Amazon. They're pretty common. The long style 8mm rod bearings. So LM8 LUU is the part number. Yeah, LM8 UU. And these are what go in here. So we just need 2 of these going in from the rear through to the front. I think these are just held in with friction. I don't know that there's a set screw or anything like that holding these in. So they are pretty tight, I'll be honest. So I'm not really worried about them coming out, but a set screw or something would be cool. Just using the table there to make sure that's all the way in and flush. It does feel flush by doing that. I'm pressing on this pretty hard to get these in here, so I don't think I have to worry about these coming out. I will say that you probably want to brace the part as you're going through the front side so you don't overstress this initial portion and break that off. All those long ones cause those are, yeah. Yep, these are LM8 LUU, friction fit, yep. Sparks looks neat, but 16 page, what? That's wild. That is wild. All for a clone of an A1. I'd rather just do the A1, I think. You blame the purple filament? No. It's a good thing. In this, I blame the purple filament a lot of times too. But in this instance, holding that in really tight is a good thing. So I like that. Getting some of the hardware in is my only issue because it has to thread through the plastic. Where's the red Loctite? It's all over those purple parts. And then we're doing, it looks like, the X back brace. X back brace. This guy here. There's a hole here. So let's make sure that that gets aligned. So we've got this foot flopped. How are we doing this? This way. This back brace with the hole to the left, according to the manual. And it looks like you do need some screws in here, but it never called out that I need to put another hex nut here. Not that I saw in the manual. So we did one for that upper portion. Oh, we did. Okay, I missed it way up here. So we're going to add those hex nuts in there. So I missed it. And then we're using M3 by 12s to go through. Okay, let's do hex nuts right here. Or at least I thought I did. I might have consolidated all of those into a different location. So we'll do it this way. Bring out the hex nuts. He used it all lubricating the bearings. Yeah, lubricate the bearings with stuff. Okay. And then that should go that way with this access hole to the left. Oh, this assembly gets quite chunky. Yeah, GPs, it's quite chunky. And now that I'm looking at it, right, with all the parts printed, I'm kind of like, oh man, I should have used some yellow in here somewhere. That way we get more of this kind of look out of it. So maybe this needs to be yellow or something else. I don't know. Initially when I was printing these, I thought about going with just a 2-color build with just pops of yellow, but looking at this assembled, I think it needs some yellow. Maybe this part here, because that'd be pretty easy to reprint. And we said we need 12s here. So a couple of 12s go through. Yeah, so that's the weird part. Like in this piece, the hardware goes through no problem. So it's definitely a filament issue. You wish the frozen Arco was on time? Yeah. With everything coming out, it's going to be a challenge. Yeah, the frozen Arco, I think, just is going to suffer from being 2 years too late. Good machine, if it would have released on time, but now it's behind the curve with all the other stuff happening. So just getting that in till it's snug, and then we'll call it good. And that looks like one side. Just the mirror the left side. Okay. Don't expect too much from this manual. Just note the placement of the idlers. Okay. Okay. Sweet. So if I flip that to match the picture, that's what this one looks like. So this will be our one side, and then the other one actually has the picture in there. So flip-flop. All right, I'm gonna keep this one here for reference, and let's build another. All right, I do remember I need some 40s and some 30s maybe. You're lazy? Hey, I don't blame you. At least you grabbed a screenshot of what it should look like. So if that's what it should look like, that really helps out, because now I can see where the idler should be. So I know this is a 40 that goes through here. And then I don't remember the other one. I think it was a 30. I'm going to save myself some headache. Yeah, so it's a 30 and a 40, both M5. Sorry, it's pretty cold out here today. It's 34 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's at like 1 or 2 C, probably 1 C out here today. In Hollywood yesterday, it was actually really nice. I got up to 70 degrees out there. Turned out really nice. I need 4 more bearings. I'm going to get good at putting these together. Doing it today and then have to take it apart and redo it for when the 1.5s arrive. That's good. It's practice. Okay, so that one there, and then I need the, what was the other one? The 30. Yeah, what else is new at CES though? Anybody actually go to CES and check out what they had on the floor? I haven't seen really any of the coverage of the event at all. All right, so that one goes like so. We're gonna do spacers. Okay, so for this one, right, just looking at the photo, it'll go this way. So we've got spacer on the silver screw first, and on the black screw, we'll do idler pulleys first. So spacer here, and then we'll get our shims back. This is your reminder to get into the giveaway as well. The giveaway link is in the description. Sounds like CES was all about enterprise AI. That's kind of what I noticed as well. A lot of PC graphics card type stuff, but not a lot of 3D print type stuff. But yeah, definitely heard that it was about AI largely. Okay, so stay. All right, so bearing first on the black screw, and that's the button head. And for the socket head, we start with the spacer first. So already got that on there with our shims. And that's a small one. And then in between bearings, we'll do the 1 millimeter. They like to grab onto the threads. Let's put this down. That. And then we do our 0.5 millimeter shim on the top. Hey, Dave. Good morning. And then for our button head screw here, the black one, we'll add the spacer on last, and that should complete the stack. If I hold on to that and flip it, it does look like the picture in the manual. So that's our sanity check that things are matching. Hey, Ken Davis. Besides CES, you missed Comdex for PC geeks. I've never even heard of Comdex, but I'm also not a PC geek. I like PC stuff, but not super into it like that. How's it going? It is going well. I did not get the 1.5 GT idlers in time for today, so we're installing just these flange bearings now as a placeholder to continue moving the build along. And I'll come back and have to tear these down when those idlers do arrive, just to prevent or hope to lessen any VFA that we might see. But so far so good. Pretty straightforward, simple build. Highly recommend. All right, and then for this one, I know that the socket head screw goes into the thicker part of the plastic part, so we'll spin that on there. It is printed threads. Doesn't like to get started, but it will. Come on. Why are you fighting me today? There we go. What did you say? Oh, RTX 5090 Lightning Z 1000-watt GPU. I did see that, actually. I watch a little bit of Paul's Hardware on YouTube, and I did see that a new 5090 Lightning was out. It looks like a pretty sweet graphics card. That one in. You're going to have to alternate back and forth on this one as well. A little bit on one side and then a little bit on the other. Congrats on the promotion. Oh, yeah, thanks, man. Yeah. It's been a crazy week because of it. This is the first 3D printing anything I've done all week. It feels like I've been away. It feels like last week's stream was, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's been a crazy week. Crazy week. And then my daughter turned 16 yesterday, so that was, really the highlight of the week, is to hit that milestone for her as well. So good news for both of us this week. That does complicate things a little bit. So I haven't mentioned it yet, and I didn't really plan to until Dave brought it up. But it does mean I need to move, which also means that we'll have to have a break in the channel this summer. I don't know when. I don't know the timeline. And I don't know for how long we will pause building things. I'm going to try and keep it as short as possible, but it does mean that we will have to pause so that I can move. But that is months away from today. Do I know where I'm moving? I do not. Not yet. Not yet. I will eventually. I'm trying to remember how this one went. So towards the hex nuts go towards the screws. So like this. And then this one will go here. We'll hold it all together with a bunch of hardware. What? Come on. How does this go? Oh, flip. Duh. Like that. And held together with 25s, I believe we said. Thanks, Aaron. Don't look your insurance agent in the eye now. Yeah, Sweet 16 her. Thanks. Yeah, she's such a good kid. Daughter at 16 is going to start to be expensive. How many dresses have you bought already? So this is the funny thing. She wanted a suit. We got her a suit for Christmas. And she's not the dress kid. Like, you've seen how these kids dress today. Like, very few of them wear dresses. And so don't have to worry about that. My little one, my 7-year-old, that's the dress wearer. She is the fabulous one that needs all the things and the stuff. I don't know where I'm moving, Dave. I will let you know as soon as I do. I've got about 2 or 3 weeks before I figure it out. And so ask me in about a month. Do some quick shorts from the phone and throw them on to keep activity. How we do it? Yes, already been doing that. That's exactly what I do throughout the week. So we'll stream today. And generally, I will clip this content to be used for shorts on YouTube throughout the week. You know what? Let's move this in a little more. Sorry, I just kept getting my face in the camera. I don't like that. Your son turned 16. The clothes bill is real. I believe it. I believe it. What kind of job? Kenny, I am active duty Air Force, and I still fly and do all those kinds of things. And so my job is to be sort of the administrative type guy now. And I will go off somewhere else and do that. You have 11 years before you need to worry about your daughter turning 16. You're lucky. You're lucky. East Coast, we'll see. We'll see. I have a lot of options. And I need to make my preferences known, and then once that happens, we'll make selections. And then from there, we'll see how it goes. Fresno, I'm not against it, Reth. I like Fresno. I like that area. I just don't know if there's anything up there for me. That's the thing. Your kids go from 12 to 31. Jeez. Yeah, my oldest is 20. She will be 21 in August. So 21, 16, and 7. That's my range. All girls, all different personalities, all a joy to work with. He builds printers. Real life Maverick? I don't know about that. Sweet to PCSing? Yeah. PCSing's cool. I just got here though. I've only been here 18 months at this point. By the time I leave, it'll be just shy of 2 years. It'll be like 23 months when I leave. And so we started to get comfortable here. I've got a pretty decent workshop. I've got a pretty decent space here that we're filming in and using to build printers and things. And I'm sad to lose it because who knows what the next thing will be and what my setup will be like. So I'm a little sad to lose some momentum. It's a little bit concerning, and I totally forgot to put that M3 nut in there. That's going to be painful. But here we are. Here we are. I gotta think how. I think I could just take this off of here, yeah. Buckley? No, can't do it. I'm not Space Force. That's why you don't have kids? Yeah, Mike, don't recommend. Borrow kids first to know if you're a kid person, and then see if kids are for you. All right, so it's pretty easy to get that out of there. I do like the modularity aspect of it. I just need to figure out the least amount of work to be able to get that hex nut in there because I totally forgot. Nobody reminded me. Nobody reminded me. Your realtor is a retired Air Force major pilot, tanker, and drones. And you were Army. Nice. I fly tankers currently. Yeah, I'm a boom operator on tankers right now. My next job could be anything, though. So who knows what I'll be doing next. 3 boys, 2 girls. That's a lot of kids. Right, Pat? Right, Pat is an option. Right, Pat is an option. Get them to build me a base in Fresno. I appreciate it, Reth. I think the closest thing to you is where I currently am. The next closest would be up near Vallejo or Fairfield. So a few hours north. Probably, honestly, about the same distance I currently am from you. Can't have kids, but you already know you're not a kid person. You could barely take care of mine. Or of you, yeah. My wife takes care of me. That's why I'm successful. All right, I think I can get a hex nut in there now. You were EOD when you guys shot stuff with the shipping lug still on. You had to take care of it. Don't say you guys. I had nothing to do with that. Yeah, I think I might have to take this all the way off just to be able to get that in there. That's unfortunate. Up near you? Yeah, Steve Beal is down the street, but I don't know that I'm able to do that. I was at the place in Fairfield. I was up at Travis a few years ago, probably a decade ago at this point. Yeah, I got out there in like I don't know 2013, and I left in 2017. So had been there before. It is an option. I can go check out the garage and learn how to build stuff properly. Any Air Force in Camp Pendleton? Don't believe so. No, no, that's a Marine Corps base, if I remember right. But you know what you're talking about? Yes, I do know what you're talking about. And I still had nothing to do with it. By the way, what happened to the exchange of commissary? They got expensive back when we still called it PX. It seemed cheaper. They have to keep up with the times, right? So these days, it's not as much of a deal as it would be otherwise. Where you really get the benefit of stuff like that is overseas. So in overseas locations where maybe you don't have, a mall or something like that, that's where you see the benefit of a PX and a commissary. But these days, there's so much competition, 10 minutes down the street that it's less of a deal. But at the very least, you save on any sales tax. So you might save a few dollars depending on what you're buying. Colorado Springs, yeah, so that would be Peterson. I have been there before, love it. That would also be an option. And I like Peterson for many reasons, not just job wise, but location is pretty awesome. You get 4 seasons, there's a lot to do. There's a ton of reasons I would enjoy Peterson. Let's put this on correctly this way. Here we go. Used to love the commissary. You could buy a whole case of stuff for cheap. They do it every once in a while. You could still get certain things. I'm not saying any of it is terrible. I'm just saying it's not as much of a deal as it once was. I mean, we shop there, I don't know, once, twice a week. What are my East Coast options? Dave, let me try to think. So I'm born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina, and that's an option. So Charleston Air Force Base is an option. What is the other one? Potentially Georgia, Jersey, New Hampshire, Virginia. Just think of like the big major Air Force bases on the East Coast, and that's probably where I'd be. Nothing with fighters though. It's got to be a tanker sort of situation. So just checking out my work here. I do need to put on this other piece. You guys are distracting me, but I love it. I appreciate the conversation. Okay, mirror, that guy goes that way. These were 12s before. They should be 12s now. Yeah, the real call is like I get to make my preferences known, but I do not get to choose. So it is chosen for me. And as much as I would love to have a say, it is, hey, I would like to do this. And they say, cool story, bro. You're doing this other thing instead. And I have to say, okay. And so that's the tough part of it. Okay, so looking at this, making sure that we are mirrored. It looks like we are. So one on the bottom, one on the top, and then if I look through, one on the top, one on the bottom. So we are mirrored and looking correct here. Could you not go to Selfridge? Selfridge is not an active duty location. So that's the other thing, Mike, is there is also a reservist and a guard component to what I do. And so if it's a reservist or guard component, then it's not available to me. They do fly tankers. I've worked with some of those guys, but I can't be there. I'm not guard. New Hampshire would be awesome, Dave. If you got New Hampshire, we could be neighbors. Yeah, I would love to go to New Hampshire. I tried to go to New Hampshire before coming here, and I was overruled. There was not a billet available. The fact that I'm big dog, say beware. Yeah, well, there are other big dogs that, although we are the same rank, they outrank me. So, thanks for the sub. Who's that? Divine Fem 11. Thanks for the sub. Cool. So we have two matching things here. I think we can move on a little bit. Let me jump back over here. Sorry, I lost my mouse. What do we got next? Looking like a carriage and an in-stop trigger. And that's just a M3x10. Okay. In-stop trigger goes into not this one. It looks like this one. Right here, in-stop trigger, threading into plastic with an M310. Time and grade, you get it? Yeah, so time and grade, definitely. That is the case. Time and service, though, holy Christmas. I'm approaching 24 years doing this stuff. 24 years. What stepper did I use? I used the stepper that came with the kit. So the one, so essentially you just gut the BMG that came with your Delta Flyer kit, and you use the internals and the motor from that on the M4. That's probably the smartest route. Shouldn't have to buy anything extra. Your cursor the size of your head years old. 24 years, retire already? Oh, get out of here, Dave. I enjoy what I do, man. I'm having a great time. We don't say the R word around here. I will, but honestly, I will retire when I feel like it's not fun anymore. I get to do a really cool thing, and I get to do this job, and I'm excited to do it. How much more time? For the promotion, it is 3 years. 3 years for the promotion. So by the time I can officially leave, I will be approaching 28. All right, in-stop trigger is in. Looks like it wants us to do X carriage next. 30 years in your job and you're ready, but your wallet isn't ready. John, that's part of it too. Like, I want to make sure that I am absolutely prepared, right? Like, I don't want to put my family in a bad spot or anything like that. And so definitely want to make sure that I'm overly prepared for that life transition, but also I'm not ready to grow up, and honestly, I haven't looked for any other job to be able to do. I still like doing what I'm doing. So I'm not even looking for anything else to do right now. Okay, so we got to make a micro switch here. And I want to go back to our manual. So let me figure this guy out. So let's go back to our manual. Let's put away some of this hardware, clean up the desk a little bit, drink some water out of my Killer Prince mug. You did the math. I still have 10 years unless you can take the Powerball retirement. Dude, if I won Powerball, as much as I love what I do, I'd be out. 100% college tuition is on the docket. Nice. You did 6 and that was enough Army for you. Maybe Air Force would have been a different story. Yeah, Dave, the secret is that I have been able to trade jobs every 4 years and fly something different, move to a different location, meet different people. So it feels fresh. It feels fresh. Actually, taking the assignment here was the first time in my entire career that I have moved and kept the same job. Every other time that I've moved has been a complete retraining and different responsibility. The 7-Eleven retirement route. Be a CEO of a company. Don't really need to know anything. Just need to sound confident in any decision you make. That's basically what I'm doing. That's basically what I'm doing. At this point, like I can't promote anymore. I'm at the top. Like that's it for me. So it's CEO duties. Okay, I want to go back to this Trident manual. And I know that we left off. Let's unlock this. I know that we left off in this portion here. So this is like den rails and stuff. Actually, my mouse moved. We are not that far. That is way down. Okay. So we built a frame and we didn't even get to this portion with the Y rail stuff because we're not going to do that with a legacy gantry, but it does show us installing some of the motors at the back, so the AB motor stuff. I think that's probably where we should pick this up. So let me get us to the right spot here. We did all this. We built the A and B motor stuff several times. Wednesday, May 14, 2033. You're out. Fingers in the air button. I love it. Won the Powerball. That would be super neat since you don't play, but there would be signs like a new 3D printing business. Life gets easier when you realize that everyone around you is just making it up as they go. Yeah. Yeah. Life gets easier when you just don't take responsibility for other people's actions and decisions and allow them to make their own choices. Not military, but you look forward to choosing your own adventure in 10 years. I won't say the R word either. Yep. Same kind of thing. No matter what you do, like I get to do a really cool job, like, and it's fun. That's the only reason I keep going. But there are a lot of cool jobs out there that I wish I could do. I just happen to have a cool job, not the cool job. All right. That's the thing. When you got to bring the frame back out, put some roll-ins in the Y-axis, and let's do that. Let's do that. So moving our assemblies to the side here and making some room. All right, let's adjust this camera so we can get the whole frame back in frame. Look about right. What did I do with it? It's over here. Yeah, I'm a little irritated that I have to move all these printers. Some of them are not going to make the journey, I'll tell you that. Some of them will be have to be offloaded just to be able to maintain. Like I can't take 23 with me. It's a huge pain in the butt. All right. Finally off mobile. Why are you not seeing at least 66 likes? I don't know. I don't know. People come by and hang out, and we banter back and forth, and so it's good conversation. But for whatever reason, folks fail to like the stream. So please, folks, like the stream. It helps out. So I think we need 8 of these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right. Does it have us turn this upside down yet? No. Okay. And there's not an orientation. All right. So orientation-wise, there's a hole here, and there's like a long side and what I would call like a short side with a hole. Focus. There we go. So the short side with the hole, kind of where my thumb is, that should go towards the front and the back of the frame, depending on where you put it. So at the front of the Y-axis, holes go towards the front. At the back of the Y-axis, holes go towards the back. it's gonna be a fun process picking the printers you keep versus, oh dude, tell me about it. Um, I'm stuck between trying to sell these things um, just to recoup something and stripping them down and reusing the parts. That's where I'm at. So if you want a printer and you're willing to cover shipping, reach out to me. In the next few weeks, though, I will be posting some of these for sale because I got to get ahead of it. It was very stressful trying to get these across country. We went from Oklahoma to California, and that that process of moving all of these was not fun. And I told you how to do this correctly, and still managed to put these in backwards. So these are going to slide all the way to the rear now, but they are just not sitting in the frame correctly. They don't want to be in there. Let me find something that's not going to scratch. Here we go. You got shipping and $1,200 in Monopoly money. Send it, Alex. Send it. There it goes. Yeah, those are really just tight in the frame. They don't like to be in there. There we go. Down. You down. That sucks. So yeah, I mean, yes and no. Honestly, I don't need as many as I have. I don't use them all. I can't use them all. It's more of an exercise in just building and learning and things like that. So they often get built, rebuilt, repurposed, that kind of thing. It's not like I build it once and hang on to it. Like they go through cycles. If I had a spare Trident 250 frame or a Trident 250 that we could have used as a base printer, we would have been rebuilding that today instead of an all new frame build here. Why is there a choice? You keep them all. I wish it was true. I don't know what I'm going to have space for. Number one. Number two, if you've never driven across country in a U-Haul while towing your own personal vehicle, it is not fun. Uh, Not enjoyable whatsoever. Doing 55 while towing a trailer for 2,000 miles, not my idea of a good time. And the wife and kids are usually in her car and they're following me, right? And so there's not anyone to banter back and forth with. It's just you solo, listen to podcasts, and then until podcasts get boring, and then you switch to an audio book and you finish the book and then switch over to a radio, and I don't know, you learn to do it. But coming out here took us 4 days to get here. The cool part about it is we were able to have a day in between where we could visit the Grand Canyon. And so I got to take my girls to the Grand Canyon. Me, myself, 40, almost 42-year-old man has never seen the Grand Canyon from the ground. I've flown over it at 300 feet and got to see it from the sky with the door open, but I've not like visited it on the ground. And being able to take my daughters there was pretty cool. Call dibs on the tubes. 10 billion in Zimbabwe dollars. 3 out of 10 of those style nuts have bearing springs that just don't want to play ball. Yeah, all the 8 that I put in so far are not the best. They're very tight. 4. So now I'm gonna flip this upside down just to make it easier to access and a little easier for you all to see. Not that you need to see what we're doing here, but it's just putting in T-nuts. Just using a tool to leverage the spring over a little bit. If you go too far, you will dent your frame, so be careful about that. So just getting it in there and then using the tool to press it forward is the best technique I can offer about how to do this safely and properly. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. You can just join us on the Discord and have people to talk to the whole way. Dude, that would be awesome. Like if I could join a podcast live from the U-Haul. Just check in, you know, Killer Prince Live coming to you from inside a U-Haul in the middle of Arizona. No, it'll be fun. I don't worry about things like that, but it's definitely something I don't want to be doing a lot of. If you've never done it before, do not recommend. Do it, you know, once or twice, but like this will be move number 7 for us. Kind of getting a little tired of moving. Imagine packing your whole life in boxes and then trying to get it to wherever you're trying to go safely. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. And with the printer specifically, all of them made it. I think the Stinger got damaged a little bit just because it has a separate electronics box. And I don't know if it got jammed in between a pair of other printers or whatnot, but it broke the door on the electronics case. Like everything is fine. It'll work. It's just, I needed to reprint a few hinges for the Stinger. Other than that, it'll all arrive safely. It just a pain in the butt to get it here. Okay. 16 T-nuts in the frame. We can make that happen. What if your frame's dented? Hopefully it still works. It's not pretty. Did I go to the north side or south side? What do you mean? Done that snow moving truck and trailer? Yeah, it was a rainstorm when I did it last, Kenny. You get to look at the kids' toys you throw away before next Christmas going, I gave up a printer for this. Yes, we do that. We do a huge purge every move. And this is another one of those times where we get to do a huge purge, which is not a bad thing. Do it Friday night and still be an option. Does live streams from the road all the time. Yeah, I'm sure. You ever go to the Grand Canyon, check out North Rim and the Oh, yeah. So that was the plan on the last one. I was just unable to make that happen due to time. We didn't have time to go all the way to the North Rim and back. And so we just did South Rim. About to have to make a move at some point soon. Not looking forward to moving all your printers. Yeah, huge dyno. That's true. It is. Best thing that I could tell you is get a U-Haul that will be big enough to fit everything. Wrap them in blankets. Secure the gantries with zip ties so things aren't moving around. If they have moving beds, lower them to the bottom, and cover them in moving blankets. And then I tied all of mine to the wall of the U-Haul, and that kept them from sliding back and forth. We threw a whole bunch of other stuff in there too with the printers just to maximize the space. But yeah, it was more, it sucked more to have to tow a car than it did to drive the U-Haul. Okay, so we're doing idlers next on the frame here. We did not build idlers yet. So let's go back to our legacy fork. I think I'm gonna skip X carriage for now. Come back to that one. Yeah, so like we're doing the whole gantry as one solid piece, it looks like. Because we're doing belts and all that. Can I not just pack them full of blankets and clothes? Yeah, there you go. It's a good way to do it. Moving from North Rim burnt. Yeah. I wish you could move. You're tired of this house. Move from an apartment to a house with a shop, though. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, if my family wasn't in need of such space, I would prefer to have a small apartment and just a huge shop. When you moved back to Norfolk after your Navy days, you did the over-the-road thing. You drove a rented 26-foot Ryder while trailing your Crown Vic on a flat trailer. Yeah, that's exactly the setup. I had a 26-foot Penske truck and a trailer with my Golf on it. 40-something foot U-Haul. They make a 40-foot U-Haul, towed the car, and did it with yeah, not you meant South Rim. Gotcha. Barn dominium. Yeah. So the wife and I were talking about a barn dominium. That's going to be like the retirement thing. Okay. I need to decide where in this manual we're going to make the change here. And so I'm looking at this this carriage, and it wants me to put it together, and that's fine. We can do that. But I don't know that I'm ready to install belts and all the things because I'm going to have to take it apart. We do have front idlers. I think I need to, I think just looking at this, I think I can put AB motors on. We could probably do idlers as well in the front. And then it appears that the rest of the gantry, so everything with rods, can just be sort of slid in place at a later date. So I think that's what I'm going to do now. It's a little bit outside of it. And again, there's not a order of operations for the legacy fork like there is for the Trident manual. So I'm going to stick more closely to what the Trident manual has, and we'll do idlers, AB motors right now. That should take us to the end of this current stream, and then we can do X gantry and stuff next week. Sound good? Barn dominium is what you're looking at when you retire and move off grid. Screws people up. 72 front end on your 74. Correct. Okay. Gotcha, Nathan. All right, let's do that. Let's do some idler stuff. Need all this coffee today. Yeah, I think I got 18,000 steps yesterday walking around Universal. I was smoked by the time I got home. I never sleep in the car. I completely passed out for about 20 minutes on the ride home yesterday. We call it time travel. All right, AB motors. So I think we are, manual's got us doing idlers first. So let's do that. We did assemble those last week. And I want to see what this will look like a little bit. So I don't remember which side is which, but with the screw on the bottom like that, that tells me this is the bottom. So we should go this way, which means this one goes here. Let's use the first two. Ooh, that's something I didn't notice. There's a small detail here. That's like a little hook that'll hook into the front side of the frame to add some stability to the idler. I do like that. Although, just like before, these purple parts are a little too tight. So maybe we can loosen up some of the hardware to allow some movement and allow some adjustment. So now those two parts, they kind of swivel a little bit. Help us get this in the right place. All right, looking down through the hole to try and align the T-nut to the top part. What are we using to secure these? Is it just M5x10s? Good luck with the build. Lovely frame color. Thanks there, Mitsu. Yeah, I love this frame color. It's the first blue one that I've built after my V0. But I built that V0 probably 4 years ago at this point. It's still V0.1. Like, I haven't even updated it. It's been so long. All 5x10s. Great. That's what I assumed. I think things are very similar to what the Trident is, so I'm just going with it. I do have the CAD open as well if we need to get in there and take a look. But all right, so I'm gonna get that one on there tight. I've got it pressed all the way up towards the front of the extrusion. The hook on the front of the purple part still doesn't want to fully like wrap around the frame and get into that groove there, but I believe it'll be okay. And then for this bottom one, we're gonna have to tilt this a little bit. to get this T-nut aligned here. Is there a GitHub for his project? You haven't heard of it before. Mitsu, yes, it should be in the description, but we'll take a quick look at it. Let me flip you over here. It's called the Legacy Fork. This is what it looks like. This is Nathan's project. He is in chat as NHCHIU. And if you go to the project page, you can find it under that name, Legacy Fork. So again, it should be in the description as well, but I might have forgotten. So Nathan, I don't know if I have made you a mod, but if you are, you're able to post your link for those. Feel free to do it. You're not a mod? You should be now, though. I think I just gave it to you as I was saying those words. So if you want to post it, you're able to. All right, so let's loosen this one up a little bit. And I need to bring you back over to things where you can see stuff. Thanks for the sub, David. Dark Wizard 728. Welcome. Yeah, we're going to be back next week to get a little further on this. How are you guys feeling about it? Do you want to see literally everything, or can I get ahead on stuff? Like, what's the consensus? I don't want to cheat you guys out of stuff you want to see, but also I don't want to keep you here for 8 weeks building the same printer. So I'm open to suggestion here on whatever you guys want. I mean, I've already got to rebuild those XY joiners with the new idlers. Yeah, you're welcome, Mitsu. Yeah, I had not heard of this build before either. Nathan just mentioned it. We were doing, I forget what. It was probably a V0 build or something. I'm having a hard time remembering when I learned about it, but he mentioned it to me in chat, and we went back and looked at it, and I was like, oh, that'd be cool. That's a little bit different. Let's try to do something like that. And so here we are today, finally trying to build one of these. Same thing as before. That one's actually lined up. Good job. Okay, so now that those are on, I can go back and retighten the hardware that we loosened here to have some play. So now that's good, let's tighten down this M5. Remember, that does go into plastic, so you don't want to strip it. You don't want to crush it such that your idlers aren't able to spin. So once you get that down there and flush and tight, make sure that your idlers here are still moving. I've done that and belted, and actually had it too tight and couldn't understand why it was making some weird noise and why it wasn't moving smoothly. So when I went back to recheck everything and was checking belt pads, I noticed that my idlers were too tight and they were squishing the bearings and wouldn't allow it to move. You're making good progress. You don't think it's going to take 8 weeks? I know, John. I was just being silly. I don't mind watching build as long as they run. I throw them on my other monitor while you do other work. Well, Critter, I do appreciate it. Lurking is fully acceptable. Looks like a front project. Might have enough parts laying around to build a mini one. Ooh, when you say mini one, do you mean like 15 frame? Like a legacy fork for ants? Oh no, we only need one T-nut for the front idlers. Need to call that out in the manual. We done yet, Pez Liz? Almost. And good morning, lady. We've got some idlers on, and we built some XY joiners. So we're getting there. You only need one T-nut for the front idlers. Need to call that out in the manual. One T-nut. Well, I thought that we had to do... So the idler does have the one T-nut. But then the second one I thought was for these rod holders, for the Y axis. Like, doesn't that go on like so? And hold that in there? So I think it's correct. I think you're right. Happy Sunday. May have slept in a lot. No, that's okay. Your body's got to recover and rest. I do appreciate you stopping by. 2020 frame, but 120 build volume, bunch of 250 extrusion. Hey, that would be fantastic. I think it is scalable. The CAD is out there. The manual's out there. Take a look and see what you think. And if you decide to post it somewhere, the build, let me know. I would love to check it out. 120 sounds pretty cool for something this small. That's why I went with a 250, because it's very compact. A 350 with rods makes me nervous. Looking at the CAD right now. Cool. Okay. Got those on. Looks like AB motors are next with M5x10s. Let's see. The outlet on the motor goes towards the outside of the frame. That's what I'm seeing. So we're doing left and right. Cool. Let's do that. I think we have this guy first. So as long as we assemble it correctly, the outlet of the wiring should come out the side of the thing here as we install this. So again, all the way back towards the back side of the frame. And there are little cutouts that interface with the extrusions. This purple is still a little tight there, but we'll make it work. I can force it into place. And if I need to, I can even go file away some material. Just lining up these holes. So I'm gonna get it onto the Y-axis first, and then I'm gonna tighten down the rest of the hardware that's holding things together. I left it intentionally loose last week so that I had room to slide this over the Y-axis. There are details in the prints that engage with the frame, and so those details can stop it from sliding on all the way. And this one is giving me, there we go, let's try that. This T-nut doesn't want to accept the hardware. All right, you don't want to play nice. Let's figure out what's going on. All right, that's sitting in there sort of sideways. There we go. Let's see if that works. Three eggs for brunch today. Excellent. Dude, I miss brunch. Where we lived last 2 years ago, last place was they had brunch out there. Not every time, but like I want to say monthly, they had a brunch event, and it was always cool to be able to take the girls to lunch. Excuse me, brunch. And do that. We don't really have stuff like that here. Dude, this T-nut is not working out. Let me remove that and replace it with something else. I don't know if the threads on it are jacked up, but it is just not wanting to play nice here. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna slide it out of the way. Oh man, it made me scratch up the frame there a little bit. And I'll pull that T-nut out later. Let's just add a new one in real fast. Use something nice that actually works. There we go. Liz, if you're still here, you actually missed all the fun. You slept in. We got a channel update. I'm moving. So we'll have to take a little bit of a break during the summertime. And we're talking about ways to keep going in the meantime. And I think one of the solutions we came up with was to make shorts from the road. And so I got to figure out what that looks like for us in the channel. Okay, that T-nut actually works. There we go. Man, that was not fun when you get a bad T-nut and you don't know about it. Luckily, this other one seems okay. All right, so bottom in and tight up against the frame. Top in and tight now. All right, come out. There we go. All right, now that that's good, we can tighten down some of this other hardware here to really make this a solid connection. I realize we still need to add in the extrusion here, but it'll be okay. That'll slide in there pretty easily. There's enough flex in these other ones that I'm able to get this in there, even with the details that interface with the channel. We'll just add some brawn to it, and it'll flex out of the way. So that one, and then we can do our M3s. Cool. So that motor feels solid. All right. Do our other side now. Let's see what that looks like. Hopefully it goes a little smoother. So kind of line that up in place, move our T-nuts to roughly the right spot. And then at the bottom, let's do the same. Okay. Get this guy on here. Same M5 by 10 hardware that I keep dropping all over the place. But this time, let's get it into the part and into the frame. Okay. And then just turn this up to make sure we have the T-nut aligned. That looks pretty good. That's what I like about this little 250 frame. You can kind of flip it around to wherever you need it to be to get good access to things and stuff. When I was doing my 350, not only was it a 350, but it's also an easy bake, so it was heavy as anything. I think the frame alone was something like 50 pounds, but it's huge and super awkward to try and get flipped over, and don't recommend it unless you have, you know, a large open work table to be able to work on, because otherwise, not fun. Okay, what else? We got those on. Those are tight. We don't have an end stop per se, so skipping that piece. The rear brace is the D extrusion, which is a length I don't remember. How much hardware are you going to find when you move? Oh, probably. Oh, geez. I mean, as much as I drop it, I normally find it. But there's a handful back there. Luckily, the gap between the floor and the bottom of the workbench is 8 inches. So it's easy to get under there and clean out. And quarterly, I'll get under there with a vacuum and get all the bits of filament and other stuff out of there. Okay, let's do that. Let's put all these things in the extrusions, and to make sure this is the correct one, that looks correct to me, we need a bunch of T-nuts. Hopefully it'll give us some good ones now. Let's do this. Let's bring this down just a bit. So a bunch of T-nuts for this. And then once we get this rear bar on, we'll go ahead and give away some filament. So if you have not entered the filament giveaway, you need to do so in the next, I don't know, 15 minutes. So a reminder for those that are here. Two on the top, two on the bottom, and then a third one on the bottom for that Z-axis. What is part 1 to Legacy Fork build to Voron Trident? What do you mean, what is part 1? Part 1, we built the frame. I think that's what you're asking. We built the frame, which is all the blue stuff, and these AB motors here. And then part 2 is attaching those components to the frame itself. And that's what we're doing right now. I don't exactly know how many parts. I'm expecting probably 5 parts to get the full printer, because we're not going to get Gantry done today. And we're definitely not going to get electronics done today. So that alone is probably 2 separate streams. So that takes us out to 4. 5, I would imagine, well, it's probably going to be more than 5. I'll say at least 5, but more than likely 6 or 7, depending on how well we go. All right, so should be able to flex that out of the way a little bit, slide that rear brace in there. And then same on this side over here. Come on, baby. Doesn't want to slide in. Okay, well, I was wrong. Make sure we don't tighten these. Let's make some room here to allow some flex in this part. All right. Now, will you slide in? Looks like a no. Let's try going from the front. Yeah, the front seems to be easier. Okay. So there should be a small equal gap on either side of your extrusions here. Visually, it looks better if the gap is equal. But again, it's your preference. If you want to have it to one side or the other, that's up to you. But having the gap equal does look.
Thanks for the sub.
Just trying to look underneath to make sure our T-nuts are aligned. Look pretty good. This side. This side needs some work. Okay. And then we just go to town, putting all this hardware in here. Where are the Z nuts at? It's that one, and so this vertical here is going to stick out. That's normal. We're going to flex this into place to to attach the rest. Once that happens, we can tighten down this lower bolt that goes through. Mr. Kevin R, thanks for being a member for a month. That's awesome. It's hard to believe that, you know, folks are already hitting their 3-month mark. That's wild. Never really expected to have the channel be that big. We're actually having members that are here for months at a time coming back to watch these shenanigans.
Thanks for the sub.
Dang, Mike, 3-month guy. Appreciate you, Mike. Thanks for being a member. And Clownhammer, 3-month guy.
Thanks for the sub.
A member. You guys make a grown man want to cry. No, I do appreciate it. That support goes a long way to making sure that we go improve the stream 1% each time. So you guys are the reason we are able to build this. You're the reason that we're going to continue to build things for as long as we can. So thank you for your support. There's no shame in crying as a grown man. Oh, man. Until I see the headlines that are like, you know, warning, pro streamer cries on live stream. Not that I'm a pro streamer. I come here to have fun. And it is fun. It is fun. I enjoy coming out here each week and getting to build stuff and talking trash with you guys, talking life, what's next, all that kind of stuff. It's a good time for me. I wish there were more like 3D printing people nearby where I am currently, to be able to have these conversations and talk 3D printing and nerd out a little bit on this kind of stuff. We just don't have that same level of community immediately nearby. So it's nice to be able to come on and do that stuff. You're killing it on stream. I appreciate you. That means a lot. It means a lot. All right, let's make this easy on ourselves and flip this guy because I can. Should be able to see a little easier, and I should be able to see a little easier on where this hardware goes. Do that. Put a couple more in here. From NL. Remind me what NL is. I'm not exactly sure. NL. Have the same. Nathan is a member for 2 months. Thanks, Nathan. And thanks for the project. This is pretty fun so far. I'm enjoying this. Very simple. At the end of the long week before I got to go back, it's fun to come out here and be able to build on something and create and talk. Netherlands. Got it. I knew it. I knew it. I just couldn't process information. Netherlands. Dude, we've got people here from the Netherlands. That's awesome. Shorts, you want to cry and kill again? Mike, you're going to have to create it. Make sure you clip any of the live streams, and then YouTube will allow you to post it. But Mike's been a huge help as well, hooking us up with LEDs because I'm too lazy and frustrated to build my own. Mike's been a great resource and friend to help us out with that kind of stuff. I can do it. I just don't like to. It's not my favorite. It's like dishes, right? Everyone can wash dishes, but you really don't want to. You really don't want to. Oh, that's too small. Okay. All right, that's in there. Let's make sure we press these down. Those are just on there slightly loose. And so once they are in place where we want that Z gantry to be, we can tighten down these verticals. Mike is the man with wiring. Yeah, I agree. Mike does a great job. Okay, and then I'm going to just flush up the front of these CNC parts to the front face of this rear crossbar here. The holes in the CNC parts are slightly oval to allow for some movement. And so you'll be okay doing it that way. All right. There is our rear bar. AB motors are on. Front idlers are on. I think it's time to give away some filament. Yeah, let's going through the manual. Yeah, so sticking out the back like that a little bit is fine. We have the same thing happening for us. Let's see, what else? Good there, good there. We've done all this. Make sure it's 175 and 90 degrees. We could do that really quick. Let's measure out, see how far we are. Let's get one of our rulers out here. That one is 175. And then this is also, it's like 174, and this is 176. So I probably need to bring this about 1 millimeter to the left here. That's an easy fix. Just loosen these up about a half a turn. And then starting from one side, let's see. Let's bring this over to about right there. Right there. Just measure again. That's dead nuts on. And that looks like dead nuts on as well. What did I use here? I think that's too small. Got it. Okay. Set. You guys need to get in the giveaway. Get in there. Because that's what we're going to do next. All right. Let's see how many folks we have in the giveaway already. So let me go over here. And I will pull over, get rid of that for now. I will pull over some names. I'm seeing 45 responses. 45 responses. Okay, so let me close this. All right, we're done. And then we'll link this to a sheet. And pull your names in. So Mike was the first one in this week, which is great. Got a friendly face. And then Shrimp Father was last. Got in just now. So bringing those names over to Wheel of Names. And then putting this in a view that you can see. Like that. All right. How many times have we spinning the wheel? How many times have we spinning the wheel? See a couple of 11s. 5. Okay. 3. Year is 3% in, so 3 times. That's a good enough reason for me. Let's do 3. 1, 2, and 3 for 3%. Good luck, folks. Killer Prince, just send the affiliate code. We know I already won. Well, it looks like Nick. Looks like Nick is gonna take it. Nick, are you here? Can you tag me in chat? You've got 69 seconds to respond. There he is. All right, Nick. I'm going to pass your info over to Jason at LDO. He and the team are going to take care of you to make sure that they have your address and things like that. I don't want to be responsible for your information. So they are going to reach out to you. If that doesn't happen in the next day or so, reach out to me, let me know that I messed up, because that probably means I didn't send your info over, and that's why you haven't heard anything, okay? So congratulations. Thanks to LDO for always giving out a spool of filament each week. Really, really appreciate Jason and the team for hooking up the channel. So congrats, Nick. The other caveat, whatever you print with the filament that you win, add it to the server. Throw it in Discord. Let me know what you make with it. Congratulations. All right, let me see some stuff here. All right, this is the CAD model. We are at a pretty decent point, but I think we have a little bit more time. I don't want to overlap Steve too much. And for those that are going over to Steve Build Stream in about 4 minutes, if you hang out with me, it will automatically push you over to Steve once we get finished. So if you don't mind missing the intros and stuff like that and want to hang out, or if you have double monitors and you want to watch both of us, feel free to do so. It'll push you right over there when we get finished today. Best amount of time. Yeah. Yeah, so I think I want to try to get the rest of this gantry in. I think that's the next step in the Trident manual. So let's do a little bit more, maybe 30 minutes or so, and then we'll call stream, okay? We did get started just a touch late today. So let me get this PDF back. Great. And come back over here. All right. So on this one, I've got the Z done. The frame is upside down. We're not doing any of this Y rail stuff because we are using rods. But we can do the linear rod portion of whatever Y assembly, or should we just press forward with the Z? I'd really like to get the Z in today, I think. Yeah, so we get this giant plate. Let's do the Z axis, I think. I don't have any of the information on how this should go as far as order of operations wise, but I believe that yeah, Chaz, I agree with you. Z is super easy. It's a couple of T-nuts and things like that. So we've got the base plate is here, and this sort of just lands. Try not to scratch things. Mine doesn't want to fit all the way. There we go. What are you doing? All right, trying to get this in here so it doesn't scratch things, because it will. All right, so just like that, and then our Z axis goes down just like so. So that should sit in just like that as a base plate. And so I can tell just by sitting this in here, I need a few T-nuts. So 2 at the back, I'm seeing 2 on either corner up here, and then 2 on either corner up here. So 8, 9, 10 T-nuts is what I see. And at the back here, that looks pretty easy. For the front here, we'll have to raise this up and slide those in. And so we can just drop that in there. We'll do the same on this other side. Let's drop that in and slide over. And then for those that like to hang out after the giveaway, I give you guys a sneak peek on some other stuff. Or hanging out on the stream. Usually, and it's normal to see the dip in viewers after we give away filament, and rightly so. I get it. But for those that like to stick around, we'll show you what a preview of next week will be. Still going to be on this, but I think I made a decision on tool head and things like that. So All right. Let's drop that in there. This in here. Oh, these T-nuts suck. I don't know why, but they are just... They just don't like this frame. They're like always sticky. Don't like to move unless they're perfectly, you know, in the groove of the frame here. Okay, so we'll try to align these like visually from the top with, get them pretty close to the hole. All right, let's do a couple more. 4 and then 2 for that side over there. Great. I lost my chat window. Hold on one second, guys. I hear you chatting. I just can't see it. You think you need to flip the plate? Why do I need to flip the plate? It should be equal. Oh, the Z. The Z. You're correct. Good catch. Thanks for saving me a lot of angry moments. You are correct. We'll take this out. It'll probably be easier to do it this way anyway. Just to get these T-nuts in here. Good catch. Saving me maybe 30 minutes of frustration there. Yeah, I assumed it was all the same around, but you're correct. We have that Z chain that connects and goes down through this side of the Z-axis. Good catch. This is how you interact with your friends. Mind the notch for the wires. Yeah, you said that several times, and I couldn't see the chat, so I missed it. Cable holes on the right, Z chains on the left. Flip. Got it. Thanks, guys. There and there and there and there. This isn't a spare one. It popped right out of there. You see that? Thought I saw someone asking about powder coating or something on here. Because of the powder coat. What's the question about the powder coat? I don't fully understand the question there. The powder coat is just a protective thing. I wish it wasn't black. I wish it was silver, but the T-nut's having a difficult time. Oh, no. Yeah, so I think it's just that they are cheap. They're not LDO branded. They're just whatever I had laying around. And so I don't know that it's powder coat per se. I've never had LDO frames be, you know, out of tolerance like this. I really think it's just the T-nuts themselves are probably not built for this exact profile. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Profile. So I can see most of these are roughly aligned. Hey, Penguin Makers, thanks for coming in, man. Finally getting the Trident good to go. I feel like I haven't been here in weeks. But I was just here last week Sunday. It's been a very long, busy week. How's your Trident going? You guys are getting pretty close, I saw. I tuned in for a little bit last week. And I think you're going again today, correct? A little bit later tonight? All right. Notch on the left as our hello, dear. Hello, wife. Thanks for the heart. Cool. I think 10's going here. I've got no guidance on how this goes, so I'm just kind of making it up on the fly. I think these are 10s. We do have 8s on the side if I need it, but I think these are 10s. 10s seem to be working. Ooh, you know what I just thought of? I've got a bunch of those spare like blue washer things that we were using. And if I can get those on there, that'll add some color or something to this. Let's see, right here. Try to offset the black with some of these blue washer dealios. Hey, wife. Make sure you like and subscribe. You know, sure, LDO frame, it's also difficult. Yeah, maybe it is. Maybe it is. But I've not had that before. Like, most of my frames are LDO frames. And so, but those are like kit builds, right? So the frame comes with the T-nuts that LDO recommends and stuff. So I really think maybe it's just a matter of a mismatched. I've got an LDO frame, but the T-nuts are from, you know, whoever, you know, Frank in China is sending over whatever they can do. Yep, gonna do electronics today. Nice. What did you choose for your electronics? Like what main board and things like that? We talked about it on my stream last week, what we want to put in this. I've got a few choices, and I think most folks wanted the Leviathan for this, and that would be a good option. Everything is integrated and things like that. The steppers are soldered to the board or whatever, so it's really easy to do. But that is a high voltage capable board, and we do not plan to do high voltage on this. And so it's almost I don't want to say a waste, but it's kind of a over-engineered board for what we're doing. So I'm thinking like Manta is also pretty easy. Octopus is even easier and much simpler, and 24 volts. So that'll be a little bit better of a match, but I'm not opposed to anything else. I do specific T-nuts for their frame, different than Maker Beam. Howie, that's what I was thinking as well. I say you throw a ramps in this bad boy. Why not? Listen to that sweet, sweet motor noise. Mike, I don't even have a ramps. I've never used the ramps. I don't own a ramps. I would not even know where to begin. Honestly. It's been years since I've done anything Marlin or Repetier host or any of that stuff. Like, I think I got into this when Clipper was still kind of new. My first printer used Octoprint and Octo Clipper actually for control. So you're old, you have a few in the basement. I wish I had a basement though. That sounds cool. Mellowfly DP5, 60 bucks with Pi and LCD. Jeez. I do have a DP5 down here. Got a DP5 down here. It's got a Fly Pi, and I think there's a LCD as well. So yeah, that's an option. Got plenty of main boards. Just trying to figure out which main board makes sense. A 5 would work. 5 would work. It's an LDO kit, so Leviathan, Pi 4, and Nighthawk Stealth Burner. Nice. Yeah, I think we're going to do a Nighthawk on this as well, just to keep it simple. Just to keep it simple. All right, so there's that. Let's clean up a little bit here. Try to get a little bit more of the Z-axis done. And those are for later. You're installing it on your Ender 3 NG. You just finished all the CAD work last night. Very cool. All right, that's that. We're good there. What else can we do? What else can we do? I guess rails. Yeah, rails on the front back. So we need these MGN9s. And I've got those here. These came from West 3D. They're already cleaned and greased because that's how they do their Berserker rail stuff. And so these should be already good to go. They're still packaged, so we have to open these up and make sure, but I've not had an issue with them before. And I did see that if you're in the mood for some NGN9 rails, West 3D did have a huge discount sale on a lot of their linear rails. Something like $7 for the rail. There's a lot of grease on these. I'm just looking for a paper towel of some kind. There we go. You would never trust ChatGPT to write a Clipper config. Yeah, I've played with it just out of, sheer curiosity to see what would happen. And they did okay, but you definitely need to go back and double check to make sure that it's going to work with your config. They were asking me to do some really weird stuff there, and I didn't fully agree with what they were recommending, so. Greatest thing that you use is ChatGPT. You're now a wizard at bad programming. There you go. Yeah, these feel greased. These feel just fine. They're moving perfectly. I can see the extra EP2 in some of the holes there. Was trying to get new Z rails for your Trident. No one had 350 long rails in stock. Have you checked West 3D? I mean, last night I saw that they were trying to clearance a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I got a notification about clearance sale or something. Specifically Z-Rails. So MGN9s were included in that. Now, I don't know if they've got 350 length for you. But they had some. West didn't have the length you needed. Yeah, well. I did say it was bad programming. You've gotten in heated arguments with ChatGPT. Yeah, ChatGPT is good for a lot of things, but not, I wouldn't trust it with your Clipper code unless you have a really robust prompt. And it doesn't seem to be able to distinguish between, I use Calico. It doesn't seem like it's able to distinguish between regular Clipper and Calico. It's a 300 Trident. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know where I would get my rails from in that case. Fabrico maybe has what you need. They've got some Honey Badger rails. They're pretty good. Got both coming in a slow boat from China. Well, there you go. There's always, the good old standby. Order them from China and wait a month. Also $7, right? So, yeah, it just depends on how badly you need them and when you need them. Fabrico had your X and Y. There you go. Yeah, I tend to spread it out. Like if I need something, I'll go to whoever has it. Like I'm not like brand loyal per se, but each of the resellers are pretty good. I've not had issues with anybody. Those are cleaned up so we don't get greasy fingers. And the way that I like to do these is, again, lay the frame down. So doing these front two, ooh, that's beefy now. I like to lay the frame down like so I can just get the T-nuts in pretty easily. And then I'll flip it the other way for the rear. For these, we are going to use some roll-ins again, M3 style this time. Ooh, and how many are we doing here? Looks like in the manual, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the top of the rail, the hole in the T-nut should go to the top. At the bottom of the rail, the T-nut should go towards the bottom. Use West, Fabrico, and KB3D. Yeah, same. For Z, doesn't matter most of the time. China rails are fine. I agree with you, Jazz. Z rails don't matter most of the time. They just don't need, as long as they're not crunchy, you're okay. A lot of that can be cleaned up with bed leveling or tramming. We're going to do 7 of these per rail. This is going to take a little bit. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah, somebody said, I forget who it was, sorry. Somebody said that the T-nuts are specific to the LDO frame, and I mean, I'm starting to believe that because now, even though I'm trying to do these M3 versions, I'm still getting like weird where they don't want to stay in or they roll out. Like this one just popped out. Get in your home. Let's see if I can move this in just a little bit. You're going to make a legadent. Just never got around to it. What's a legadent? And hello, Pex Peppers. Thanks for stopping by. You're going to have to tell me what a legadent is. Is that like a legacy trident, kind of like what we're doing? Okay, yeah, that's sort of what this is, but this is called a legacy fork. Not my design. You have to ask Nathan about the name, but I would imagine it's legadent was taken. Legadent was taken, and so we ended up with legacy fork. So far, so good. I'm enjoying this build. It's pretty good. Okay. I'm going to use my linear rail here to align my T-nuts roughly to where they should be. So starting at the top one here, and then skipping every other. There's that one, and that one. And we're good there. Come on, stay where you're supposed to be. Okay, so this guy doesn't want to stay in the rail. Okay, fine. If you don't want to stay in there, we'll take you out and then replace you with somebody else. That one, move you. This one. Come on. Spend more time fighting with these T-nuts than actually doing real work. It's starting to get annoying. There. And there. I feel like we need one more. I feel like we're one short. Yeah, because if I go every other hole, 1, 2, 3, yeah, we need one more. So you still used a 50mm shaft in the M4 extruder. 50mm shaft. Let me take a look real quick. I've got it right here behind me. 50mm shaft. Yeah, whatever the M4 calls for as far as hardware, that's what you're gonna need. So the BMG kit that comes in the Delta Flyer will give you all the things that you need, but you still do need some certain parts for an M4 specifically. So things like the 50mm shaft or whatever, yeah, you'll need that. That's for 12. So let's find our spacers. That guy. And this guy. Okay. And put that on there like so. And we'll do this one down here. All right, we're doing hardware, right? So what are these? M3 by 8s is what I'm seeing. Just never knew what to call it. Trigacy Legadent. Did consider Trigacy, but it was taken. Still, let's see. Legacy salad fork minus the 1515. Yeah, we're doing one of those behind me over here. So this guy here, this guy is a salad fork Mad Max that we're working on, Chaz. Fork as the idea of forking a project on GitHub, and also the idea of a big salad fork. That's what I thought. Tolerance is funny. You can't tell you how many times you solve the problem by just moving a problem bolt to the next hole. Correct. Correct. Heart K, you're beloved. Yes, Heart K is awesome. I love his projects. And he's always working on them too. So like if you think about things like the Micron is not new. It's been out for a few years now, but there's continued development on it, like even now. Regular updates, things like Anthead came out. Yeah, Heart K is awesome for doing that kind of stuff. Help you so many times. Yeah. Yeah, that's the cool thing too. Like if you're trying to do a thing and you reach out and ask a question, he'll definitely help you get in the right direction. I don't know, Chaz, I think you make some pretty good stuff too though, man. Like I want to get involved with some of that stuff as well. So it's a team effort, man. Like I think we all sort of collaborate with folks across the board. You know, put egos aside to do cool stuff, and that's what I really like about doing this thing. Is it is interesting to work with new and different people all the time. Like the idea that I could get to work with Steve to do a Delta Flyer build. That's pretty cool. Okay. And then just for alignment purposes, it looks like the linear rail is aligned at the bottom. So we'll push this down to meet that. Move these rail retainers up to hold the block in the center. You're always welcome. A lot of your projects are definitely team effort. Constructive criticism is king. That's why my projects get better with time. If you can improve on something, then do it. Yes, correct. I am the same way. I will build just about anything. I am not loyal to one design philosophy or anything like that. If you make something cool that is interesting, I am open to doing it, open to building it. So just going to push that all the way down to its flush to the plate because I don't know a better way. I think that's the way I would do it if I were doing these plastic printed pieces. And so I'm just doing the same process here. Although the thickness of this is much more. So I get a little bit more of a gap at the top. I don't know that it matters. We'll find out in time. We'll find out in time. Actually, you know what? Let's make an on-the-fly adjustment. So thinking about how thick that part is, I'm actually going to move this up. I know that it can't go above, or sorry, the block can't go below this bolt anyway. Nice call, shop on those motor mounts. Thanks. Yeah, it's so I wanted to get the Voron logo to be yellow. And so it's a simple just color swap. This is all a byproduct of that unanticipated effect. Sadly, I can't use them for this anymore. Not with this base plate. So I thought about reprinting them, just chopping off the bottom, I don't know, 5 millimeters or whatever that is, and then adding that on there as like a beauty thing. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Either way, I think what I'll do is just keep like a 10 millimeter gap at the bottom of this rail. Well, maybe not 10, maybe 5 from the base plate to the bottom of the rail. Just to account for what would have been a printed part. And that way I don't have to worry about the block coming off the top either. So that's on there. Those are tight. I'm going to start at the top here and give that a tighten and just go down this rail. Why not print them on your H2D? I can. They all these were printed on the H2D. So it's just a color swap. H2D, the only advantage of that one is that I don't have to do a purge because it's got the double nozzles. The base plate is way nicer. I agree. I just wish the base plate was silver, not black. I don't want to go through and sand this thing. Just got a Harbor Freight win. 2 rolls of solder wick and 3 solder suckers for $11. Nice. Leave a few millimeters at the bottom if you're planning to put some printed caps for Z motor. I do have printed caps. I did not install them yet, but those will be at the top. I don't think the bottom gets printed caps. I think just the top because, again, in the Voron manual, it looks like the rails butt up against the bottom printed parts. So let's go this way. You'll have an even better view this time. Let's move you down, bring you in a little tighter. There you go. So for these, I know that I'm going to use the ends. Just move this in by 1. And then same over here. Let's move this in by 1. So much grease on this thing. I'll do it with that towel. I'm in something like the Z motor mount, as you just said. I'm still a little slow picking up on what you're meaning there. Oh, I see what you're saying at the bottom. Got you. Yes, tracking. You're saying if I slice a piece of this and put this in there, I need to make space. Okay, I understand what you mean. Yeah, it would be pretty simple. All I got to do is cut off. So there's a small detail, right? Like this thing here would normally interface with the frame. Slice that off, you've got your flat part. However, this is, let's see, this is about 8 millimeters thick from what I can tell, maybe 7.5. And so if I left a 10 millimeter gap in there, that might be fine to slide in there. Good point. Good point. Note taken. I will come back and readjust. All right, let's steal these off of here and put them onto here after we do some T-nuts. Yep, always helping out, Nathan. That's why I like doing this stuff on stream. You guys are able to see things that I may not see because I'm too close to the elephant. As the casual observer, you have that third eye for things and stuff, mistakes that I may make. You may see things that I don't see, so it's really cool to have knowledgeable folks in the chat. And Nathan, thanks to you for staying up late on these streams to help out. I know it's not, morning time for you, so. Yeah, it's almost like forcing each and every one of these T-nuts in here. It's not fun. Let's try this guy. Because we don't need to stream and talk. Yes, yes. Stream and talk and think and try to think ahead, which is the real challenge. Like talking and doing is something that I do for work anyway. So I'm kind of used to that. It's the talking and the thinking ahead that gets challenging when you don't have the practice. So by this point, we are 30-something streams in. And so I won't say I'm great at it, but I'm definitely more comfortable streaming today than I was, 6, 8, 9 months ago. I'm able to do things and talk at the same time. And also pay attention to chat a little better and stuff like that. I mean, for those that are nervous about doing it and want to start, I say just start. You'll learn as you go. It's fine. Reading and talking and doing is a different animal. Yeah. Yeah, so part of what I do is instruct. So you guys know that I'm military and I do in-flight refueling. And so the other side of what I do is also instruct air refueling. So while I'm doing the thing, I am teaching the brand new guy next to me or the guy that may be a little rusty. I'm teaching that person next to me how to do the same thing. So I'm talking through it as I'm doing it live to the next person. And that doesn't always translate for everyone. It can be more difficult for some folks than others because you're trying to use both hands while watching what's going on under a little bit of stress, while you're trying to talk to the person next to you and listen to the radio at the same time. So it takes a lot of focus and concentration, but more so a lot of practice. And so that's where the ability to be able to do some of this stuff comes from. I definitely credit my ability to do somewhat okay at this to that training and that skill set. All right, based on what Nathan was saying about parts and adding in color, we're going to leave a 10 mil gap here. I'll go back and adjust that other one later. But just measuring this out here. Use a tool to pry this to the right position. something about there. Starting at the top, going down. You teach apprentices, but you feel like adding a chat to need to read on top of the other actions is where it gets sticky. It does. I don't catch everything, and I'm not able to answer every single question that comes through, especially when they go fast. Right now, we're still small enough where I don't have 300 people here trying to chat all at once. That would be impossible to keep up with. Keeping things small and intimate, I'm able to answer more questions and chat with you guys about things and stuff. So big thing is not being afraid to point out ABD call out. Oh, and call out mistakes you make. Yeah, I make mistakes all the time, every day, especially on builds. There are things that I have to go back and do. There, a lot of it is practice. I've done quite a few builds. Oh man, like out of the 23, 24 machines that I have, I think 21 of them I probably built. And they are all different, but they all teach you what to look out for. They're similar in the sense that mistakes are similar. For instance, making sure that your screw holes are aligned in all your T-nuts before you start to tighten things down, because then you get angry when you can't access the one that you need. That kind of lesson you learn just by doing many of these, and that translates to any project or build that you're doing. If it gets big, then a co-host to manage chat would be a thing. Dude, I would love that. Yeah, a co-host, someone that is normally around, able to hang out, and you know, is trustworthy enough to be around and help you. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Cool. 2 rails. Let's get to this back one and start to wrap up the stream. Put you there gently. I'm a little worried about trying to get to the electronics. I realize there's this, you know, this hole in the bottom panel to be able to do that, but I don't know how much that's going to impact the inverted electronics I want to do. So I'm planning to research that today and or throughout the week to be able to figure out a solution. Same thing as before. Let's clean off some of that grease. You wish you had done inverted electronics in your Trident? I need a James. Yeah, I need and anything. There are a lot of folks that do that kind of thing for some of the other folks where they're jumping in chat, they're managing the giveaway and sort of keeping chat tame. I'll say. I don't know who James is, but sounds like a great dude. I did an inverted electronics Howie on my Easy Bake Trident and on another Trident that I had since gotten rid of. But I think it should be stock. I think that should be the default state for electronics on a Trident because it works so well. It really does. A little bit harder to manage on a V2. And I wish there were a better solution for a V2. But it's really good on a Trident. I really think it should be stock on a Trident. Yeah, these T-nuts are not made for this frame. I'm just kind of jamming them in place. It's working, but Not ideal. All right, so again, put the rail in place. Roughly align your T-nuts to where they can be. So I'm skipping every other hole while using the top and the bottom most mounting points here. And this one in the middle, come down to about there. So once I get those aligned, I can then steal my, what do I do with them? Oh, I took them off. And drop them on the floor for durability testing. And then we can go ahead and start to mount these onto the extrusions. So I think this time I'll go ahead and set my 10 millimeter gap at the bottom early. So we'll just get this first one and this last one in place. The more of these you put in, the more friction you're going to have when you try to adjust this rail up or down. But also you got to be careful that you don't adjust it too far up and down, because then all the T-nuts that you just set in place won't align with the holes anymore. So should be just a micro adjustment. I think I have it roughly in place. It's probably only a few millimeters off. And so once we do that, it should be able to slide 10 millimeters up. It's about right there. And then I can use my pick to realign any holes that may not be where they should be anymore. And it's basically all of them, because I was off by about 3 millimeters. So let's get that gap. It's about right there. Hey, Digital Dragon, thanks for stopping by. We're getting wrapped up on the Z-axis here, trying to finish up the Trident build. So the Legacy Fork is the actual project name. Got a bunch of people in chat interested in this one, so me too. I feel like I haven't worked on it in a while, and I've been itching to get back out here and do something with this. Your V0 has a unicorn duct because it looked fun. What's a unicorn duct? Cat. Oh, never mind. I see what it is. Cat hood mod on the V2 is nice. Your high voltage normal and your low voltage is inverted in a window near the front. Okay. Hey, Icon. Thanks for stopping by, man. The tool head looks like a unicorn. My daughter would love that. That one's not aligned. Come on. Yeah, this one doesn't want to play nice. Googly eyes. Are you one of those googly eye people where you have to put googly eyes on everything? I think that's funny. I'm just not the person that puts it on mine. All right. So those are all pretty snug. Let me verify that we're still at 10 down here, and we are. Let's align things. Okay. Starting at the top. Let's get our driver out here. Starting at the top, working our way back down. All right, this is about all we're going to do for today. I would call this solid progress. Front idlers, AB motors, we've got Z rails on, we've got the base plate in. Next thing I would need to do is feet and Z motors. And we're about almost at 11 o'clock right now. So right about the 3-hour mark is kind of where I like to be when I stream. We can go a little bit longer if we needed to, but today really needs a little bit of a recovery day, so we'll keep it at the 3-hour mark and turn you over to Steve here in a second. One thing I did promise was that I would show off a little bit about what we're gonna do next week, and so now that we've got this thing sort of assembled and back to where it should be. There's your beauty shot of what we worked on. So idlers, AB motors, Z-axis, all good to go, and base plate all good to go. So pretty solid progress for a couple of hours. But I did promise one thing. So this is going to be the tool head. Anybody know what this is? Want to shout it out? Just in one printer and a few odd items around the house. Anybody seen this one before? This one is not A4T. It's based on A4T. And it is called A5T. So another 5015 tool head. So 5015, it's not Dragon Burner. It's not A4T, it's A5T. So we're going to put vendor fans here. So this is the A4T that I started with. I thought this is what we were going to do. And so you could see the difference here on the side. I thought this is what I was going to do. And I still have this. We could do that. But I went back and we'll use 15 fans here. So I've got a couple durability tests. Check. I've got a couple of vendor fans down here that I need to use up. And so just demoing for you all. Oh, you saw that one on West 3D Discord? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I posted it this morning. But yeah, now that this checks out and is solid, we'll show you the demo here. So you get your vendor fans, and these fit right down in there. And they mount like that. So we get all the cooling. Remember to tape the rear Z carriage just in case you flip the printer. I could do that, Nathan. I kept the little clip things on the rail to prevent the carriage from being lost. So works the same as the tape. See? But I do appreciate the heads up. Yeah, so all three carriages have these little clips that keep the carriage on. So that's the plan for this one, A5T. This should mount the same as an A4T. So A5T here in my right hand, A4T on the left. Very little difference between the two. The mounting pattern is the same, so it should work with all A4T mounts. Cool. I will need to make some different LEDs for this, so I'll have to solder up a little bit of a harness there. Not excited about it, but I'll do it reluctantly. And if it doesn't work out, we've got the A4T instead with the normal 4010 fans. Cool. So next week, we've got to do some feet, and those are in yellow. And then we've got to add in some Z motors, which are down here in the spares drawer. So fully prepared to get pretty far next week. Wiring looks so much easier than on the Dragon Burner. I don't know. Dragon Burner has... The cool thing about Dragon Burner is very compact. It's more of a brick style, and you get to choose a lot of the different parts that you want. You get to choose your extruder and hot end, and it's very modular in that way. A4T is very similar, except it does have built-in channels and things like that for some of the wiring. But the trade-off is you need to do it in a specific order. So hot end fan has to go in first, but before that you got to do LEDs, but only some of the LEDs, and then you put in left fan, more LEDs, and then right fan. So pay attention to the order of operations when you're building an A4T, or you're going to have to do it several times. So just keep that in mind. But I'm out of coffee, so it's about time to wrap the stream. Thanks for everybody for hanging out. Dragon Burner is easy to build. Completely agree. It is easy to build. Thanks everybody for hanging out. We showed off the way forward. So we've got braces for the frame we still have to do. Z-axis, Z-motor, stuff like that. I'll try to post us some updates throughout the week coming together. I agree. Thanks, Ken Davis. Eve, I could do it. Correct. Braces for the frame. I showed you the tool head that we're going to go with, A5T. That is a project from Suzuki on his Discord server that you can get to. I think it is also posted in Armchair with a link. So if you're looking for it, that's where you can find it. Thanks, Liz. Have a great start to your week as well. I hope to see you guys on the Z and Z tomorrow night. What else? Oh, I decided on an extruder. So I do have the LGX. It's got the CNC wire management thing from Vitali on it. I was looking to try to do proto extruder to keep it an all Nathan build, but I don't have HGX V2 gear sets, and I don't want to go get any. So we're gonna forego that. We're gonna use hardware that we already have in stock that I removed from a different machine in the past. We're gonna stick with the LGX and call it good. All right. So that's the plan going forward. We'll see how far we get next week. I think I want to get the gantry on, belts in, that kind of stuff in Z-axis. And then that frees us up for electronics. We're pretty close. So thanks for hanging out all 3 hours of the stream, guys. If you just hang out for a couple more minutes, it's going to push you directly over to Steve Builds, who is finishing up his stealth changer. So appreciate you all. Have a great week. I'll see you again on Sunday. And then we have a members build the day after. So we'll push you over to Steve now. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate everything. Good to use up spare parts. I agree. All right, y'all. Have a good week.